Hello all, Alison here. Welcome back to Words and Pictures for some more tag time. I've dug out these backgrounds, which we made eons ago. I'll link in the description down below when I found the video. They're made with, so this perspective moth die from Tim Holtz and Sizzix, cut out and then used as a mask and then to print and so on and so forth. But you can watch that video to see this. And I've got the leftover weeds and dried stems that I cut off the thyme or marjoram. I'm still not sure whether it's thyme or marjoram in that trough, but it's long gone over. The fresh growth is coming from underneath, so it was time to cut off the dried stems from the top, and yeah, they're great. So some of these got used in the gel printing session, which I will also link to, where I was using weeds and grasses and so on. So some of them have got a lovely sort of painty colour to them now, and some are still unpainted, but I thought they might be nice. And or some of these grasses, look at these ones, these beautiful delicate ones that had some inky pool and some green on them, just really lovely. So I'm thinking that I might, yeah, I don't know. I've got the tape also from those Meadowflower quartets. Another link for you to follow down below if you haven't seen that one. And well, I almost sort of quite like him on there. That might be a journaling page to come. I might use some bits of tape on these. I don't think I'm going to play with all of them. In any case, my plan is to glue some of these down as part of what's going to happen to these tags, or at least a couple of these backgrounds. People are often asking me with these, when I put dried flower heads and seed heads and so on projects, how long do they last? Well, I've got tags I made coming up for a decade ago, really, with dried flower stems on them. They all still seem fine. I dug out this journal, which I don't think we've flipped through yet, which is a bit of a nature journal, but in it, and again, this is at least a decade now, I think, 10 years. I glued in some real leaves using clear gesso over some, I used matte medium to glue them down, and then I put clear gesso all the way over the top. And that was sort of an experiment to see how long those autumn leaves would last. So those are real leaves just glued down, and it's 10 years, and as you can see, they are fine. On this page, that's a real fir branch that I, again, presumably glued down with matte medium, maybe put some matte medium over the top of it. Sadly, on this one, I didn't make any notes. And then it's had gesso over the top of it. Again, that's 10 years worth. It's not rotting, it's not mouldy, it's not disintegrated, it's there and it's ready to use. So I've got some stuff that we might have a play in this for some few minutes of fun shortly, because there's some stuff I just want to stick in to some pages in there, but that's to come. So yeah, I'm planning to glue these down. I'll try and matte medium over them, although I don't want to mess with, these are distress backgrounds, so distress remains water reactive to moisture, so I'll have to be a bit careful about how I seal that. Or we could try sealing it with some distress glaze first. This is a beautiful waxy surface, bit like a sort of Vaseline, I guess, and that will seal our surfaces a bit. But first I need to decide which ones I'm going to play with. So I'm finding myself drawn to these lighter ones. I think I might just be going to work as a pair like that today. I want the sunshine. These maybe will wait for another day, although I do love this sort of purple texty stuff going on there. So yeah, these might come out again for tag time quite soon, but I think for today I'm feeling sunshiny and light-hearted. I'm gonna have a little look. I'm gonna try peeling just a bit of this tape up, but I might keep it for a future. I might do something simpler and just stamp. Yeah, see, I think that's going to be more interesting to use over a gessoed book page. Yeah, because you can see the book text through it and everything. Yeah, I'm going to hang on to that for now, I think. And do something different. Or, yes, see, that has the makings of a journal page in it, just like that. I'm going to, okay, so here's a reminder to myself. Put it in the book, close that, and keep that for another day. So there's another few minutes of fun that will be coming up sometime soon. Let's find the silicone mat so that we create a bit of protection here, although my piece of flooring is getting messier and messier and messier, and so is my silicone mat. There we go. So let's place a couple of grasses. I do like these two little ones. I feel like they might need to be part of the game. And then I'm just wondering, I've pulled out a couple of my stamp sets that have got sort of grassy stamps on them. And I'm just wondering whether to use, maybe it's the little one, or just a little bit of this sort of clambering up the side. I don't know if it's going to distract too much. But if I stamp it in something quite light, then hopefully it won't detract too much from the grasses that are going to go in the foreground. So maybe we do that there's leaf green. Well, we could go really subtle and do it in something like bundled sage, or we could pick up maybe, oh, I know, let's do Oxide iced spruce, because I think these are sort of, I don't remember, I haven't rewatched that video, so I'm not sure, but I think there might be something quite nice about an Oxide iced spruce here, because that's sort of what that looks like to me there in the background. So, oh look, there's some sticker peeling thing. Yeah, it's that sort of soft grey tone, grey green. The grey green of iced spruce, I think, is quite a nice thing through there, just to add a little bit of extra detail to this. And I'm going to come down here as well, just with a little bit, and through there. See, I kind of like, I like that already. Let's have a look at, maybe we do want a little bit of the little one right down at the bottom, because I think it'll just make a nice background for the real grasses to sort of to emerge from. I think there might be something quite pleasurable about that it goes from the 2D background to 3D actual nature. So from my sketches, I do like that little tiny one. There's something very simple and sort of unobtrusive about it. It's just little plants getting on with their planty lives. Let's just, yeah, touch it into there, maybe touch a little bit up there. So you can see again, I'm creating a garden for it to grow out of. Love that. I mean, the moth there, he's making me think of dragonflies, because he's so sort of floaty and the ink is flying away in a really beautiful way. I also maybe want just a little bit of sort of text hovering in the background. A little bit of, what have we got in here? Not a sound, but a listening air. I don't really want the thing about winter afternoons because it's springtime. Maybe it's something like, ooh, look, this stamp here, which just gives us that kind of, or the postcard, which is my new set that's got the postcard on. Yeah, hold your horses. I'm going to go and find that. Here we go. It's Lavender. So I'm quite interested in that postcard stamp. I might also be interested in that little piece of ephemera. This one is going to be nice and subtle in maybe Pebble Beach. And rather than interfering with everything else that's going on, I think we might just be going to put that right across the top in a sort of, here's my postcard kind of way. Oh, yes, 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 yes. so happy I remembered. Down the side, it'll get lost. Down this side, that might be nice. I do, yes, I do like that. I do like that. Very good. Happy, happy, happy. And I like that it's in Pebble Beach as well, because it's giving me a kind of nice earthiness to that. Just wondering about a little bit of Gothic text. I might have the word calm just hovering gently, gently, gently in the background. I feel like calm and healing. Maybe it's calm and healing. Let's get healing out as well. I'm just going to have that as a very gentle thought. That you almost don't notice, but that is really important. Yeah, I like that. I wonder if I've got a secondary stamping in it. Not quite. Oh, it is sort of there. That's really subliminal. So just a kind of outline of the letters. And I like it in a kind of way that makes me want to pursue it. So I'm just going to get a spare bit of paper here. I've been stamping all over this. So I'm going to do my first stamping there so that I can do a secondary stamping over here. Yeah, just hovering subliminal in the background. I don't think I want healing as well though. I think that might be a bit much. Or is it? So this is where the words and the pictures. So these words suddenly became important to me as I was playing. So that calm is so subliminal. I think I'm going to be all right with just putting some healing over the top of it. Yeah, I can live with that. It's just an offering from the words to let the pictures do that job for you. Some calm and some healing. Good. Pop those away. And now it's going to be really simple. It's going to be a question of adding some grassy stems, and whether I want them. So there are some that have got extra colour from being painted during that gel printing process, and there are some that are still in a nice fresh kind of natural state. I like that one with its two stems. Do I want these little ones? I mean, I love them, but they're quite blue. They're quite blue, though it is nice. So here's what I mean about the sort of 2D, 3D effect that you're getting. You're getting that foregrounding of these because you've got those other stems in the background. So yeah, now I do have, of course, now lots of, oh, I was wondering about these as well. Is that going to be too much? No, I don't think it is. I think this might be what I'm after. I mean, these are the things I'm interested in, is using these stems from the gel printing session. So I should stick to my guns and let the background be a background. Yeah, I like that. And then it's just going to be some simple twine around it, I think. But in order to protect these backgrounds that are going on, I am going to use a bit of Distress Glaze. So there's not much in the way of protection for Distress inks. You can, of course, clear emboss things. So I could make the whole tag really, really glossy by putting a coat of clear embossing over it. But the other product that will preserve, you have to put it on a little bit carefully, so you can't sort of go rub, 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 rub. But these were Distress Oxides. You remember this stamping here. The postcard is archival, so that wouldn't go anywhere anyway. But I'm just gently applying. It's a skin's thickness of the sort of Vaseline substance. Just rubbing that in, and when it comes to it, I'll also then rub it away. So this was Juddykins, I think. Juddykins is a name from the past. Used to produce this, and then Tim Holtz found out that it was one of the few ways that you can actually make your distress ink backgrounds stay put for adding other layers. It will resist some things, but you can paint over it. Pretty sure I've painted over it in the past. So once you've got this layer fixed, you can then move it. So he then came to an arrangement with Juddykins. I'm sure they had a long discussion about it, and yeah, produced it as a Ranger have produced it as a distress product now, and it's, yeah, as a distress glaze, distress micro glaze they call it. So you can protect your distress layers from moving under further moisture. And once you've got that over, the nice thing about it is it doesn't give you a sort of shiny sheen, it gives you a sort of waxy sheen, but you can kind of buff that a little bit if you don't want too much of a glow from that waxy sheen. Let me just hold that up again so you can, I don't know if you can see that kind of waxy shimmer that you're getting there. But if I then, again gently, none of this wants to be a sort of brutal scrubbing, I can just buff away the excess with a bit of kitchen towel. And you can see that the inks are not moving. It's that what I've got is staying put. And there's just a little bit of a, as I say, a waxy surface now left under there, which is a nice finish. It's sort of like eggshell paint. If you've ever done home decorating, you can get your paints in gloss or satin or matte or eggshell, which is sort of somewhere between matte and satin. Good. So the reason I'm doing that is because I now want to use some matte gel, or I could use a decoupage glue, so the Distress Collage medium would also be fine for this, but I'm running out. I think I have got some more somewhere ready to go. So any sort of soft gel medium. I could use my usual Cosmic Shimmer glue, but I really want to be able to give these a coat over the top to give them that preservative effect that I had in the art journal that I showed you earlier. So just one of my little IKEA craft brushes, and yeah, I think I'm gonna go direct to the tag for the starting. So this is the thing that if I'd smeared this glue straight onto that distress background would have gone on the move. I'm gonna kind of mix and match in here. This is matte, super heavy matte gel. It'll be listed in the ingredients. Again, I'm running out because I use this a lot. It's great for gluing down heavy duty objects, but in this case I just want it to get these down. So what I'm going to experiment with this one, see if this works. So you can see that's now, I've got enough glue now on the background that is gluing down. I might do better to start with my Cosmic Shimmer and then add this over the top on that one that has dried. Yeah, that's not staying put. That's not too bad. Where's the Cosmic Shimmer gone? Oh, there you are. Right, so here's a chance to experiment. It's another good reason for working in duos. I'm going to use the Cosmic Shimmer to glue this one down to start with. And then I'm going to put the sort of softer glues over the top to seal this in. As you know, I very often don't seal in whatever I'm doing. I'm doing this as a little sort of answer to the people who have asked in the past about whether I seal things. No, for the most part, I don't. But here's a version where I'm sealing it to satisfy your curiosity. Generally, I'm perfectly happy to just glue a thing down and let the art be ephemeral. That's part of the joy of it. It's sort of like my favourite time of year right now, the tree blossom. And part of why it is so very beautiful is that you know it's only going to last a short time, that tree blossom. So I'm not trying to create art for the ages here. I know that these tags might not last forever, but that seems fine to me. That's part of their beauty, and it's part of the beauty of nature itself, is that seasonality, is that things change, things don't stay forever. We'll trim these afterwards. Let's have a look at this stem. I don't want to lose too much of that. See, I'm going to call it a dragonfly again in a minute. That dragonfly there, I want to keep a sense of them in the background. But I do like these. Maybe that comes up from that side. See, it's nice because that's blue and that's blue. So that's doing a nice job of sort of echoing what's happening that way or that way. I think it's that way. Yeah, I can still see my dragonfly. So again, I'm going to start with a little bit of the Cosmic Shimmer. So again, any acrylic glue will do. This is a UK company, as far as I know, Cosmic Shimmer. I quite like, actually, I'm going to aim the head for that sort of big gloppy bit in the middle there, because I think the flower head is going to be slightly more interesting than that big glob of ink. There we go. Okay, so that didn't glue down at the bottom, partly because that head is sticking up so far, but that'll hold if I get out my magic clothes peg. Let's glue that down. And over on this side, I'll have you doing that. So if you live somewhere with a very, very dry climate, you might not want to be leaving your lids off your glues for quite this long. I'm kind of fine here because it was raining yesterday. So we've had a good deal of moisture in the air, so I think I'm probably fine. But I will keep an eye on that. If I get too carried away with some of this, I might just pop the lid back on as a precaution so that it doesn't dry out. Let's pop that there, press that down. Just going to try these the other way around, just in case it's that instead. No, because this moth is darker than this moth, and therefore I want the lighter grass with the darker moth and the darker grass with the lighter moth. That's just how my brain wants to work. Your brain might want to do it the other way, and that's allowed. On your tags, you should do it the way you want to do it. I might try and get a bit of clothes peg just to there as well. And to there, yeah. Have I got another tall one? Must be another tall one. I'm sure I had more than one tall one. Are you going to reach? Oh, just enough to make a difference. Great, so with this, I think rather than... No, I might be able to get a Cosmic Shimmer to be helpful. Just a little touch. Just to hold it in place. And you see that's going right down over those words, healing and calm, and that's fine because as I say, I just want those as a background thing. So like any white acrylic glue, this should dry completely clear. So those little white dots of glue in the long run shouldn't be part of the story. So not everything survived the gel printing session in a way that means I'm going to be able to use them. This Herb Robert, thank you for all those who came in and helped me out with the name of this. I was Robin was in my head. So I wasn't far off, but yes, it's Herb Robert is what it is, and it is in the geranium family. And they are beautiful leaves, and given they're only growing between my paving stones, I think I'm probably fine with letting most of them keep going. If it starts to get too out of control, I'll pull up more than I need for just gel printing sessions. Yeah, that's all making me pretty happy. And just to give this again, to satisfy the curiosity of those who want to know whether you need to seal things, I'd be perfectly happy leaving the rest of that unsealed. As I say, I'm not worried about the longevity, really. I know this isn't going to last forever. What makes me happy is seeing it right now in the moment. But I will give this just a little touch over the top, since we went to the trouble of putting the Distress Microglaze on. So the trouble with this is it is going to glue these down more firmly, and actually, yeah, I like this one sticking up. I don't want it too 2D. I don't want it to become so flat to the paper that it hasn't got its life anymore. So I don't think I am going to do anything to there. That, however, hasn't glued yet. So I do want it so it's not going to completely fall off the tag. So you're going back under the control of the clothes peg. Just temporarily. Just temporarily. And you. Let's glue you down. Grand. So I might let those dry a little bit. I'm thinking of running maybe some twine around them. And obviously I'm also wondering whether, as well as these subliminal words, maybe I want something a bit more prominent words-wise. So I'm going to pause to look, and I'll be back in a sec. Pretty sure this must be glued down by now. Did you see that move? So when you're working with Mother Nature, sometimes you just have to be a bit patient with her. This isn't her main way, so that one's firmly glued, so that's all right. All right, you carry on gluing. I think that what I want to use are the words from maybe this Lavender set. I like Life's Alive in Everything there. That I think is Christina Rossetti. It's a little fragment of a Christina Rossetti poem. And I think what I'm going to do is stamp it on this piece of sort of soft white card. It's slightly textured, so it won't be the perfect stamped image, but given I'm doing it off the main tag, that's fine. I've got a bit of flexibility, and I don't really know what colour I want it in, so I'm trying. So this is one of the Distress colours, Faded Jeans, produced as an archival ink, just in a mini. I've spoken in the past about my Speckled Egg, so this is, again, Speckled Egg Distress colour was produced in an archival formulation, and I got the archival re-inker of Speckled Egg and an empty custom blend DIY ink pad and filled it up with Speckled Egg. So I'm just going to look at Faded Jeans, because I think that might be the blue that works with those flowers. Let's look at that against the tag and see if that's the thing we want. I love Faded Jeans because it's just a sort of delicious Faded Jeans colour. Grey blue, and always when a colour's got that greyness to it, that's something that makes me happy. So that might want to go up on a little bit of padded tape. Just gonna have a look at, oh hello, maybe up there, well maybe stamped direct up there. let's put that there for now. And then what was the other little phrase I thought was rather lovely? I do like every flower enjoys the air it breathes from here, but I think that I like the shorter phrase. I do like this one, which is from the Winter Grasses, which is not a sound, but a listening air. And no reason why that can't happen in spring as well as in winter. Or I also love, I hear it in the Deep Heart's Core. That's Yeats, W.B. Yeats, another marvellous William writer to go with William Shakespeare. So yeah, when I started adding these poetry fragments as opposed to direct quotes, all the first ones were William Shakespeare and William Butler Yeats were all the poetry fragments on the first little set of stamps. It's a lovely colour, the Faded Jeans. I'd be happy to have the whole Distress range available in archival formulation, but yeah, it's just a few of them so far. But the ones there are, I'm very happy to have. Like so. Yeah, when it says not a sound, somebody was mentioning being able to hear the bird song now outside the window, and yeah, that'll be a constant accompaniment now that the windows are open upstairs. It's not open down here, then it would be really loud. I quite like that in those two different positions. I thought I was going to want them together, but because the moth is at the same height on both these tags, I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. I usually adjust the heights so that when you've got the tag together, he's up and he's down. But somehow when I did this one, I did them both at the same, basically the same height. But it's all good. It's not a problem so much as I'm interested in how I came to do that. I quite like the simplicity of that. I'm going to do it before I change my mind. And because we're using Faded Jeans archival ink, I'm going to use Faded Jeans Distress ink just to give that a little bit of blending around the edge, and I might also do some around the tag itself. Let's get that there. Little touch of inking. So this one is going to be able to go flat to the tag. This one isn't, because it's got to go over the tops of those. So I'm wondering whether, because that one's going to be raised up, maybe I also want to raise that one up. Let me look at it down here just in case I'm wrong. If I look at them as individual tags, that's really nice. And that looks a bit sort of lost, I think, up there. I think it's detracting from that dragonfly / moth. So I think as an overall kind of balancing act, I actually like them both down lower. Not quite at the same height, but yeah, like so. And I need a little tiny one of these. Is it tiny enough? I think it might be tiny enough to just go behind here if I put it on very straight. Yes, just little tiny square padded tapes. And how many am I going to need? Oh, there it goes. But I quote, not a sound but a listening air. I need one at this end. So I'm just trying to avoid putting one here where it's got to go over a flower stem. So there's no good having a bit of padded tape there. And it can't go quite at the very end at this end, but it can go nearly to the end. Let's peel those off. So this is what was hanging around on the stamping grid earlier was just a little square from the larger padded tape squares. Now, because this is not the stickiest of padded tapes, I think it's sticking to that textured card quite well. No, it's not. So I am just going to put little extra dots of glue to help it do its job. Let's make sure we glue it down the right way up, shall we? Not a sound, but a listening air. Nice. And that, yeah, that little bit of sort of raised dimension is a really satisfying thing. Don't know why that should be, but it is. So this one's going to be a bit tricky because I don't think I can put anything at this end of it because it's over flower stems. But what we might do is put a little bit of just straight glue so that it glues direct to the flower stems. So the flower stems themselves can give us a hand here. So let's peel that off. 1, 2. Yeah, it's coming away. 3. And it's sticky when I touch it with my fingers. I just don't trust it to be sticky enough when it comes to sticking down. So yeah, I'll put a little bit of glue like so. And I want this one a little bit higher up. There it is. So what I'm now also slightly tempted to have a look at is whether I want to mount these over a little white border. And I think I probably do. Just because, again, it ties us into that. But that means I need to find another piece of this. I did work out what paper that is. Hopefully it's my Studio Line watercolour pad. Yeah, close enough. I think it is that. So I'll grab a piece of that, glue these down, and be back for the finishing touches. So they are now backed onto some pale card, same as the card that the quotes are on. I'm just wondering about doing a little bit of faux stitching around the edges. Oh, one of these days I must really try and conquer the sewing machine again. I've got various pens here. I'm wondering about doing it in blue. Oh, that's a real grey, not a blue. I thought I had bluish ones. Are you the thin end? No, you're the thick end. It's never the right one when you pull it, is it? Never the one you want. Oh, that's better. That's a much subtler thread. So yeah, I'm gonna just go for it. And you can see it absolutely doesn't matter. It went right off the edges just then. I don't care. I wasn't sure that this was going to work over the Distress glaze, but it seems to be showing up in most places. Interesting. So there are some places where it can cope, some places where it can't. All good. If I feel the urge, I'll go and get something more full on. Well, let's try this darker one. See if that'll hold. Interesting. That one much less. So I might have to go for let's see if the Statler pigment liner will work over the embossing glaze. Yeah, that's fine. So that's now enough lines. I'm not doing any more. If this doesn't show up, I'm not going to push it any further. So that is the resist of the Distress embossing glaze. That is not wanting. That's the brush end again. Grr. That is not wanting to receive that aqua pen. So if I found myself a paint marker instead, that should go over the top. But I haven't got any very fine ended paint markers. I don't think they're all a bit bulky. Pencil might work. Let's try a pencil, because now that I've started, I sort of do want this, now that I've seen it as a possibility. Yeah, there we go. So this is a Caran Luminance, I think it's called. I've got just a few of these. Distress watercolour pencils might have worked as well, but they're over the other side of the room at the moment. So that's going to be, it's going to be this for now. It's just a little border drawing the eye in, so just compare the two for a second. And it does do a thing to draw the eye in, and I'm going to go for a little bit of fake. It's really interesting. Places where the distress embossing glaze is quite thick, I can actually feel it as I run the pencil over it. It's completely different texture to the tag. But that's quite nice, just that random in and outness. As you know, I like to embrace imperfection, which is just as well, because this is an imperfect border for sure. And because the other one had lots of different lines going on, I am going to add just a little bit to this to see if I can get any pen work going. Interesting. It's a good experiment just to see what will go over the top and what won't. But we do want a little bit of fake messiness in that stitching, like so. A little bit there. Good. And now a little bit of twine and we'll be there, I think. You away. Yeah, so here at the top, obviously I could try and line the hole punch up, but more often than not, what I usually do is that. That's a perfectly good hole for my purposes. Done. And then I don't need to worry about lining things up and missing and la la la. A little bit of twine to go through there. And I'll be zooming in for a close-up. Oh, you know what it needs, don't you? For my eye, what it wants is a little bit of spatter. So yeah, my scraggy spatter brush, my almost at the end snowflake spatter paint. There it goes. There it goes. Motes of pollen, dust catching the sunlight, hovering in the air. Oh, it's magic. It just does that thing that just brings a thing to life. And actually I really like that white highlighting. Just wondering about maybe doing some lid stamping, but no, I think we've got what we need on these tags. Let's see, I've got it here, so let's just maybe see if we want some little bubbles of light in the air. Yes, we do. There. So this paint's quite watery now, so that's not necessarily going to be a great imprint. I might need to go back in and do it again. Little bubbles here. It's sort of helping the dragonfly thought for me, that, because it's bubbly and watery, and I'm going to get a little bit more paint out to increase that effect. It's always those last minute thoughts, isn't it? Yes, there we are. This is just the lid of a distress stain. It's about the right size for what I want here, I think. Let's put a bit there. Where else? Maybe at the bottom. So I've stopped talking because I'm just looking at what I'm doing and enjoying it. So it all went quiet, and the birds seem to have gone away. They've presumably finished the pile of food I put out for them earlier. That's really good. It's just an extra little lift of sunlight in the tag. Great. So I will put the twine on, zoom in for a close-up. Thank you so much for your company. As always, I hope you've enjoyed today's tag time, making use of those stems from the gel printing session. There will, as I mentioned, be links to follow in the description below to any of the videos that are relevant, those backgrounds, the gel printing, and there was something else as well, I can't remember. But I'll come to that, and I will list ingredients as far as I can remember them also in that description down below. Thank you so much for your company as always. Do leave me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed that. Comments and questions are always welcome. If you haven't subscribed, do please consider subscribing so that you can join me for lots more tag time, few minutes of fun, books, Sunday swatching, all kinds of things going on here on the channel. Thanks so much for your company and happy crafting all.